everyone, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, this is Authentic Woman, and we are here to build a generation of authentic women who are not afraid to live in their truth. I am here with my sister. Kindly introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, as always, this is your girl, Ablatsa Imbukwa, and Chenda forgot to introduce herself. This is Chenda.
I'm Chenda, by the way.
I don't know why people forget that bit. Yeah, but we are here to have another conversation.
Yes.
Chenda, what are we discussing today?
Wow, we are discussing if we want to change the narrative within society and within the world around us, we have to start with ourselves.
And yeah, that means us unlearning
so much
or relearning some things.
Yes.
You get.
Yes.
Because it's always a journey.
Yes.
From our childhood, there are things we have learned that became our truth, but they're not the absolute truth. So if we are going to change the way we are treated, or if we are going to change the environment around us, it has to be intentional with us identifying those things that are not serving us and unlearning them.
Yeah.
If you want to approach an issue, you start from the roots.
Exactly.
You start from the roots.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is what we are going to discuss.
Yes.
Today.
Yes. And I love that you've brought out the outline of everything. Because more times than not, when we hear the word change, it comes with so much responsibility. But the responsibility will feel less of a responsibility if we started with ourselves. And when we look into ourselves, I think we can narrow it down to what exactly needs to change.
Yes.
Because society as a whole has us as an individual. It has us pertained in it. Society is not just made by one single human being. It also has us.
It's made
in it.
By
yes.
Yeah, we make society.
We make society. So when we mean change, we mean root cause, as exactly as she has said. And root cause needs you to look into it deep. And looking into it deep, for those people who are self-aware and self-conscious, it comes in very differently. When you tell, for example, I'm not trying to blow the trumpet on myself. When you tell me, a self-conscious person and a very self-aware person, Chanda, this is the issue, look into the root cause. I will take a day or two and look into the issue and look into what is happening, and I will find the root cause and I will say, okay, this is it. As much as I won't figure out how to cure this root cause, I will figure out the root cause. But for many people within society don't know their self-awareness, and they don't know self-consciousness. They don't understand these type of things.
Yeah.
And
if you have gotten to a point of saying this statement, they're always treating me this way. This is your conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what we need to come together as a circle and dive into, or we need to pull you close and actually digress into this conversation. So as a person who hasn't necessarily looked into self-awareness and self-consciousness, I think you need help to a sense. You need a community. And a community, I mean people who you're not trying to suck the self-awareness from, but people who will guide you into realizing your self-consciousness and your self-awareness. So a community of friends, especially friends who can tell you, okay, Mikal, let's sit down, I'm calling you in, let's discuss this. What is exactly happening?
Yes.
You get?
And it's a journey. Like,
it is.
It's a journey.
It is.
We've been through a lot.
Yeah.
And that is the learning bit that we are talking about.
True.
You know, when things are really hurting you, you know, sometimes it takes friends, as she has said, to help you point out those things, because sometimes we think it's normal. Like women have been socialized to believe that you have to tolerate almost everything, or you have to be in a certain place for you to feel complete, like you have to be with a man for you to feel complete. So you'll find that women will tolerate all sorts of abuse. And what we have to understand and recognize is that you teach people how to treat you. So the treatment you're getting today, you allowed it. So as she has said, go back, look deep within, and assess where did it begin. True. And uproot,
certain societal conditions,
uproot it, uproot it. Just so, because you cannot keep on singing the same song.
True.
You can't. And if you are going to live your truth, the self-awareness that she has said,
and the self-consciousness,
because it's always within. If you're going to live your truth, I don't know where you are in your journey. I don't know where you are at a point of not really knowing what to do, because there are people who are in very bad situations. And they are still there. If you ask them, why are you still in this situation? It could be a workplace, it could be a relationship, it could be a marriage. When you ask them, why are you still in this environment, they don't even know why they're there. They don't. And that is dangerous.
True.
Being somewhere, when you find yourself not knowing why you are in a place, already you are in the wrong place.
You know, question.
When you find yourself going to work
and your intuition
just for that money, which is not even enough, yet you're facing abuse in that work environment, you shouldn't be in that place.
True.
When you're in a relationship where this person is just sucking the energy out of you, the word they tell you, the things they throw your way, like they can throw all the dirt on you, and you're always you're in a space where you don't have a voice. Like you find yourself saying yes to everything because you're scared of saying no, because you feel like no is offensive, or you're afraid that if you say no, you're afraid that you might lose that thing, you might lose that job, you might lose that man, or you might lose that friendship. So you tolerate so much just to be in that space,
just to settle.
So having said that, we bring in boundaries.
And even before we get there, I was reading a book today talking about trauma. I don't know if it is in the same line of what we're thinking, but it went deep into looking down into the issue and actually having a conversation about it. As much as we are trying to identify the root cause, it is having a conversation. Because I realized how I identify the root cause, and I'm going back to myself because that is how we are pointing out references. I have to have a conversation with people. And having a conversation with my sister here, I would realize, okay, that is the issue. That is what the root cause was. And that is what it is. Actually making spaces to have these conversations. Not going to football games and talking about everything else apart from the issue. No. Let's dive into our vulnerability and talk about the issue.
And let's stop running away.
Don't run away from the issue. And secondhand, it went into medication, but that is more so into trauma and how to deal with trauma. And it went after talking about the issue, it went into medication. And the next was, I've forgotten the last point, but it wasn't necessarily into self. And the root cause needs you to be safe enough to talk about this issue and to open yourself up to realizing this and going for therapy. I get that going for therapy, it's a difficult statement, because not everyone can open up, not everyone wants to talk to a stranger, not everyone has the willing. It's just not something we write on paper and say just do. It needs a lot. So if you don't have this space of vulnerability where you can go to and talk about certain issues, you need counseling, and you need people where you need someone who can hold that safe space for you. And if that isn't situated, then the root cause can never be identified, and we will play about certain things, and we will circle around when we know the issue is this, but we all want to pretend that it isn't this because we don't want to dive into this. So as your friends and as people who are close to you, we would want this for you. But if in case you don't have that, and you don't have that circle to do that for you, you need extra help, you need therapy, you need people who can do that for you. But if you can't, again, source back within. Try and adapt and try and work within yourself and within your insecurities to find that space to open up within. And within all that, and within all that we've said, it still dives back into boundaries, because within boundaries, we learn where to draw the line. And once we have understood the root cause, we know, okay, the root cause is this. How do I move through this road? And with recognizing these are walls I've built, and this is where I need not to cross in order for me to recognize that this path is straight. Because without these walls, you realize that the road is curvy. But within these boundaries and within these walls, you realize, okay, I can see where I'm headed to.
And before you get to the point of drawing boundaries, when you get to a point of what she's saying, looking deep within, trying to identify the root cause and stuff, you're at a good place. Because now you're at a place of getting back or taking back. They say the kingdom of God is for the violent, and the violent take it back by force. So now you're at a point of taking back that voice that was sucked out of you. And that's why you start asking those questions. Should I be in this space? Should So
and also what I need to infuse also is, when we are saying taking back your power, you don't have to be at the peak to realize that you're taking back your power. You might be at the pits of pits, but you crying and realizing these people did me wrong,
and they're not supposed to.
They are not supposed to do this. That is where you're saying
your eyes
claiming your power. That's where your eyes are opening. But we are so fixated in the idea of when you realize it is such a grandiose opening, and it is self-awareness, no, it can be you crying in the corner of a bathroom and saying, fuck this.
And remember, manipulators will always be there.
Exactly. The word isn't here to tell you.
Manipulators will always be there to tell you, you give them a chance. You shouldn't have done this, and they'll always turn it back to make it appear that the mistake
is yours
when it's actually them who hurt you.
And
so, please just know, recognize the voice of manipulators. And that's why we are going to talk about boundaries.
And I hope, I'm sorry I'm digressing, but I love this content creator. You know her name so well. I don't know how to say it in Jaluo.
Atieno Nyakano.
Ha! She said something in the lines of how society has turned everything upside down, and society has interpreted things in the lines of what it isn't supposed to be, and where we are no longer looking ourselves in the mirror, but we are looking at another version of ourselves. We are not looking at what it should be. And when we remove that picture, and removing it is also a step where you need to be very vigilant and very purposeful of like, okay, this is going to be painful because society has told me this is what it is. but I need to stop looking at what society says and actually look at what it is for what it is. It is painful. But if you're not willing to step into the pain and step into the uncomfortability of how and what society terms this upside world, because it is what I've seen society and how it has rewritten itself, it's totally upside down. It's not the reality of things. And every time I'm wondering, is this really the reality? No, it's not. It's not, because what is happening and what society is deeming to be, it doesn't align. One has to be wrong. And when you dig into it, you realize it's because society has just turned everything upside down. And that's why it seems wrong. So it has to get back to that. It has to get back to you realizing that you have to step into the uncomfortability and rewriting certain narratives. And within that, you will realize boundaries need to be set, because I can't build when there aren't walls. There was I want to bring out an illustration. When we were building our home, we had to set up a wall first. Not necessarily a wall first, but even within the process of building, a wall was always in our constant minds, because we didn't want thieves or like people to process a certain imagination of what our household was trying to do. You get? So we had to build that so we could build ourselves up. And we had to lay out the structure of whatever was outside, so people outside don't see inside when it hasn't fully developed. And that is how we all try and protect ourselves, and how we all grow. And boundaries are different for everyone. Boundaries are interpreted very differently and are sounded out differently. But yes, so as a household, we had to start with, even whether it was just a fence, a mabati fence, whether it was just a fence of metal first, it had to start with that, so we can build what was within, it would come up, and then we could lay out everything else. So yes, back to boundaries, and I would leave it to you to like continue. So
I love that illustration about the walls.
Yeah.
You know, people believe by building, when you put up a wall,
you're blocking
people from getting access to what is inside. But also remember, as much as we have a wall, we have a gate. So,
and the gate
allows those who are supposed to.
It has an opinion. It has a choice.
Yeah.
Can I let you in? Can I not let you in?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, at your gate, have your wall. And at the gate, you have the key. Yes. You have control. Yeah. You have the power to decide who comes in and who doesn't.
Yes.
You know, and those who come in, how far can they go? You get, you know. So, talking in essence, boundaries, when it come back to us, you know, for me myself, I'm still struggling with them. It's not like
I'm there.
I have achieved.
Yeah.
Manipulation still works on me to some extent, you know, and you find you like, okay, let me give them another chance. But I got to a point of recognizing that no does not mean that I'm a bad person. We have made to believe that, like, we have been socialized to believe that yes is the only answer.
Yeah.
Like, yes is the only answer. It is a good answer.
Yeah.
But no is also an answer, and a good answer. When somebody is,
if God himself can say no.
Yeah. If someone is draining you, you can say no. And don't feel guilty about it. We are always feeling guilty.
Yeah.
Somebody nilimwambia hivyo. Mbona, and then now you'll start feeling bad. Why did I tell? And you go apologizing, yet in essence, it's them who are supposed to apologize to you. So we have to realize that no is one step in setting boundaries, recognizing that
True.
no, your no also counts.
Exactly.
Or if you look at the Authentic Woman logo, we say her no also counts. Why we say her no also counts? Because it's women who suffer this so much. You'll find women will open doors to a lot of trash, because no is not an answer that they recognize. No to them is an answer like you feel like you're being mean, you're being selfish.
You're not allowing.
But what if you're being selfish and protecting that which defines you, protecting like don't allow things that suck energies out of you. Don't allow them through that gate.
Yes.
That gate of your heart. Don't. And if you're feeling in your heart of hearts that you have made the wrong decision,
double back.
Sit back and analyze.
Find people who will tell you.
Yeah.
Find a circle who will draw you back to the drawing board and tell you.
And if you're this person who's always the one who says no, the bigger person, it's high time that you set those boundaries.
Yeah, saying yes, yeah.
Because by you always being the first one to
say, okay,
to calm the storms.
It's okay.
Peace is very important.
Let peace.
Peace is very important, and it's important for peace to reign. But also let the peace also reign in your camp. You get, when somebody offends you, talk it out, and if they feel like they haven't wronged you, you know, they don't deserve you. They don't even deserve
a listening ear
to even
to anything, because
your
interest is in.
They don't even deserve to even peep through your gate.
True.
Lock them out, because that is disrespect. True. If you cannot respect my feelings, and I've always been the one respecting your feelings,
then it isn't.
Those are people who are sucking energies out of you.
Yeah.
And that is where you draw the line.
Yeah.
Say, this is the far you get, and you cannot get any further. You have hurt me enough. You have sucked the energy out of me. You have made me lose myself. You have made me look at myself as a failure, as less than. But right now, I have recognized the power that is within me, and I am not allowing you to suck it again.
Yes.
That boundary is important.
And I love where we have emphasized women, society, because particularly as individuals, I don't want to talk about our experiences as selves, but so far as I have been socialized, it has always been about everyone else and not about me. As a woman, as a young girl growing up, it has never been about my particular interests. It has been, yes, education, but at the end of the day, make sure you get married. Make sure you have children. Make sure you take care of those children. Make sure you take care of the man. Make sure you take care of your grandchildren. Make sure you take care of your siblings and your family and everyone else from the get-go. And when we say as women and as society, it hits different. And I'd said I would hit on a certain nerve and hit the nail on the head on certain topics. But yes, society is very chauvinistic about how we handle the women and how women should move within society. And chauvinistic, I mean by women are to handle the men and the men environments and the environments which entail where men are dominated within and how they should move within. And even as a society in Kenyan women and the Kenyan work environment, it is dominated by men. Most Kenyan appropriate environments and appropriate jobs are headed by men. And we are told as women, when we get to these spaces and we get within the jobs, calm down. Breathe in. Suck it in. Take this in, take this, that, take this. It's always that. Within marriage, mostly men are the ones told, marry 6 wives, marry 7 wives. If you marry this one and it doesn't work, go to the next. And women were told, cook, do all this, welcome him, do this, at the expense of everything else, whether the man does this. So far, I'm not even trying to say anything that isn't what it is. But I always want us to remind ourselves that if we don't understand that this is what is happening within society, if we do not understand that this is the narrative, we will never want change for ourselves. If we keep on internalizing misogyny and internalizing this era of patriarchy and telling ourselves, okay, as women, we should continue this, it's okay, it's what society says, it's what happens, let's just continue, let's just serve, let's just work within this environment, then certain things wouldn't change. And that brings us, and once you've unlearned that, and once you've recognized, okay, at least recognize that that is what it is, then you're left with yourself. And I promise you that is so hard to deal with, because you're left with the idea of, so society left me with all this pain of realizing that I have no one else to deal with but myself. After they have socialized me to believe all this, I'm left with myself with no map, with nothing no basis, no nothing, because society has put itself in this chauvinistic world. As a woman, what am I supposed to do? You're left with self, and you cry and you hurt and you feel so much pain. But that brings you to the understanding that, in all honesty, it is you. It is you to make the decision. It is you to draw the boundary. It is you to sign all this. And within the pain and within the understanding, and I've emphasized on the pain because honestly, it is truly painful. I don't know how we are supposed to sleep and wake up and be like, hey, society, hey, all this, you get. So,
and it's hard because society is me and you.
It's me and you. It's not anyone else. It's not anyone else. It's just me, my siblings, my mom, my friends, and extended friends. It's all that. But us as a community have made this into society, and it is us to do the work. And that's why it hurts. Even as self, it hurts, because even within self, you are creating a better environment for your generations and generations to come. And yes, so within boundaries, I think the first step is recognizing that you're doing it for yourself and within the protections of yourself. And
it's okay.
And selfish. It is okay to be deemed mean, and it is okay to be deemed selfish, because this is the same society that deemed you not so a good woman because you didn't conform to this. So you're left with the idea of, okay, I've been called this. Now again, I'm being named this. It's fine. Because society will always have a term for everything, for every woman, for every... So far, that's what I have realized, not I've seen. So, yes, it is fine to say no and to say, I'm not stepping into this because there's a greater purpose to me. And women, we need this because we are stepping into ourselves and into a greater purpose, and into a purpose of this career. This is what I want. This self-empowerment. This is what I want. This is what I want. It's just what I want, and what I want for the generations of other women around me. So it is okay. And then no sometimes will sound very... It wouldn't sound like a welcoming no. You know, there's some no's where you're like, no, but it's okay. The no sometimes sounds very combative and very like a punch to society. And it's fine. Please let us all recognize, as women, it is fine. Those blows are needed for a certain change. Yeah. For society to recognize that.
Yeah, sometimes it takes violence. for some things to be enforced.
Yeah.
And as she has said, we are the most affected as women.
We are the most affected because...
And if we don't recognize that, if you don't make it intentional to change it, as we said in the beginning, the change will start with us. If we have to change the narrative, it has to start with us. With us defining how we want to be treated, going for what we believe in, you know, because it's women who let go of their goals because they have walked into family life and now they have kids, you know, like, and now you have to take care of your kids, and now it becomes all about your kids and maybe your husband, you know. So if you ain't careful, if you don't recognize that that is you, there was you before them,
there was you,
there is you now when you have them, and there will be you after, because your kids will outgrow you and leave you. What will you be left with?
And there's this belief that society would crumble if women didn't take a particular role, and if they didn't assume these infringed and oppressed roles, they would. But I leave the question of, is it better if we just chose ourselves in the sense of self-love and self-appreciation? I think the world will be at a better place if we chose to be intentional with ourselves, and if we sourced within before we sourced out. Because everyone was trying to grab everything that was out. And even within the woman, we are just trying to grab everything within the woman without recognizing. Yes. And no one is trying to search within, and no one is. Have we ever looked at that world, and have we ever seen that from that lens of, okay, how would society look like if we all just chose to be more intentional, and as women more intentional about ourselves, and not more so about, okay, just manufacturing babies and manufacturing families and building men. And
that is our role as women, because that is what was entrusted to us.
That was what is entrusted to us.
But that is not supposed to define us.
Exactly.
There is a bigger purpose that we have been given in this world.
And the bigger purpose might just be self.
And if we don't learn, recognize that we need those boundaries, we shall never get to our purpose. So let's be intentional about ourselves. Please. Let's prioritize ourselves as much as we have our families to cater for. Set aside.
Say no. Tell your children.
How many times have you gone past by the supermarket?
Yeah, and just thought of.
You've seen chocolate, and the first person that comes to your mind is your child. Yet you also have
the interest of, like,
like you can also have that chocolate, but since you have dependence, you only focus on your kids. You don't take breaks. Like, you don't think you deserve to go to a spa.
And I realized it's not even about the children, because children do understand. Once certain things are explained,
it's us, like, who
children do understand.
It's us
as women who always feel
like we have to give ourselves for others,
for society to thrive, for
others, and it's okay,
but
not
at the expense of our.
So there has to be a balance. There has to be. It doesn't mean that you abandon what you're doing for self. Just strike a balance. The same way you plan your day, the same day you accommodate drinking water, working, reading a book. Leave space for yourself. Like, do the things you love. When was the last time you did something you loved? And why we're insisting on the things you love is because once you recognize who you are, setting boundaries becomes easier, and you recognize that they are necessary. Initially, they'll seem like, that is selfishness, like, ni beshte yangu, wacha tu akue hapo, ni bwanangu, ni boyfriend yangu. But what they're doing, they're just bleeding. Some of them are bleeding on you. True. Because you don't have those boundaries. True. And you have not recognized who you are. And that is why society will define you. If you don't know who you are, you'll find yourself looking at yourself and you're like, I'm not enough. That is because of that's according to the
and as women, if you don't know who you are, there's already someone else to tell you who you are. Yeah. There's already society to tell you who you are. There's already a man to tell you who you are. There's already your mom to tell you who you are. There's everyone else.
You're not beautiful.
And you remember the post I showed you about let everyone else say no. But let not you
say no to yourself.
Be the reason why you're saying no to yourself.
Yeah.
Because as painful as this is sounding, because this whole conversation, it just can't, it needs a support to actually internalize all this. Because I don't think if we even having this conversation and actually speaking to the camera about this, we have cried. We have torn ourselves down. We have sat with women and we're still sitting with other women and we're still crying with each other and being like, okay, Nicole, this is just painful.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you don't have that, and that particularly it has to be, and society doesn't want that for us women. It doesn't want us to have each other close because this is what we will learn, and then we'll realize, okay, society has been bullshitting us. All this has been nonsense. We need to start thinking about us. So yes, I assure you it is not a walk in the path. And it is not. Even us still trying this and us still processing this and still walking through this, it is not a walk in the path, and it is honestly painful. But certain things need to end, and certain narratives just need to stop, because it will ail our sisters in the making and our nieces. And society has this saying of saying, women make communities. We still make men, and we don't make men. It's true. But we make generations of people.
We
and
make communities. And since we have that power,
we
have the power to change the narrative.
Exactly.
Okay? So
it will be better.
If you become intentional,
it needs to be better.
About your daughter,
and your niece, you're changing also your nephew. So you're changing your brother, you're changing your niece.
We're starting from the narrative. It's not like everything that is there is wrong, but we just have to be intentional about unlearning the
certain things that are infringing on us,
that are not serving us. That is that is where we wind it up. And as we wind up, we remind you it's not wrong to think about yourself.
Please.
It's not wrong to say no. Yes, because that no is what will give you that power back. You get. So going forward, remember, your no also counts. You have said all the yeses, but let that no count going forward. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
Till next time.
Please continue the conversation in the comments. Thank you so much in the comments.
And if they haven't subscribed,
kindly subscribe. We love you all.
We love you.